How good is the Shogun? Is this paddle worth your money? And is titanium the next big thing? Stay tuned to find out.
The Shogun is one of Bread and Butter's newest releases, and it is the first paddle to the market utilizing titanium in the face material. This paddle succeeds last year's release of the Bread and Butter Filth, but more on that later. Bread and Butter's packaging for this paddle is amazing. The box and goodies inside were certainly unexpected, and I love when brands really value the presentation of their product to the end customer. I really can't get over how much I enjoyed the unboxing experience of this paddle and the story that it says inside. But you didn't come here to hear about a box and the goodies it comes with, so let's jump into some specs for the Shogun. The handle length of this paddle is 5.5 inches with a grip circumference of 4.25 inches. The Shogun is a 16mm paddle. Its shape is elongated, and I would classify this as an all-court paddle. The swing weight is 121 and the twist weight is 6.2. The face material of this paddle is a unique carbon fiber and titanium mixed weave. This paddle retails for $190. The Shogun has a 6-month warranty and a 30-day no questions asked return policy. A fun little Easter egg of this paddle is that it does say that it is designed in outer space, which I think is a hilarious touch, and I really love that. This paddle is beautifully designed. I love the characterization, the colors, and just the overall look of this paddle. Ironically, I did just get back from a 2-week trip to Japan, so maybe I'm currently a little biased with the branding of this paddle, but man, do I love what they did with the Shogun. For example, I really do not like the color yellow on most things, but I have been looking for yellow accessories to match this paddle. If you are someone who likes to stand out, then this paddle is perfect for you. Let's get into my thoughts on the performance of this paddle. To start off, my spin test came back with an average of 1,920 RPMs. This is not the highest on the market, but anything over 1,900 RPMs is very good in my mind, and you won't feel like you are lacking spin. The feel of this paddle is really satisfying. The sweet spot feels great. However, when I was drilling with some friends recently, we used a diadem ball and a Franklin X40, and for some weird reason, the diadem ball was really causing some bad feedback on the Shogun for me. I do not have enough experience with this ball to know whether this feedback is unique to the Shogun or if it would have happened with my Thrive Azul as well. This was only happening on slightly off-center shots, and I have not put any lead tape on this paddle, which could help better the twist weight than it already is, making this paddle feel a bit more stable. It wasn't something I noticed when only playing with the Franklin ball, but it definitely made it more noticeable when switching between the two balls. I also noticed that the sweet spot seemed to be slightly lower on the face than what I was currently used to, so this took a short while to adjust to, but once I was dialed in with this paddle, it felt great. Overall, the Shogun sweet spot feels like it falls in line with most of the thermoform paddles on the market today. Another thing I'm starting to love more and more and appreciate about this paddle is having an elongated shape with a 5.5-inch handle. I've slowly been adding a two-handed dink into my game, and this paddle makes two-handed drives and dinks just so easy. I thoroughly enjoy the ease of use and the feel of my shots when I've been drilling with 2Es on this paddle. Now let's jump into some comparisons between the Filth and the Shogun. First off, these paddles are more similar than they are different. The Shogun is a little livelier than the Filth, but the shape is virtually the same, with just a very slight difference in the way that the paddle tapers at the throat. The power feels virtually the same, and so does the spin. If you have a Filth currently, I do not think that the Shogun is a paddle that you need to buy based off the performance alone. The main difference is the feel, with the Filth being slightly stiffer and the Shogun having a more plusher feeling. These differences are most likely just due to the changes in the surface materials.
Speaking on the surface materials, the titanium face in the Shogun certainly has a nice feel to it. But do I think this is revolutionary? No. But just like what we have been seeing with Kevlar this year, it's nice to see that companies are innovating and finding ways to provide paddles with a more unique feel so that players have more options. And as it comes to durability, we are just gonna have to wait and see, but so far my paddle is holding up really well. I'm sure other companies will hop on this idea of titanium in the face material, and I'm looking forward to see what else is to come.
Should you buy the Shogun? I think this is an amazing paddle for those who like elongated paddles with a higher twist weight. It does everything well and is quite literally the definition of an all-court paddle in 2024. I do not think that you should buy this paddle if you are looking for a paddle that does one specific thing extremely well. For example, if you are coming from a control-oriented paddle like the Lux, don't expect the same control, and if you are a power player coming from a Gearbox Pro Power, then don't expect anything close to the same power. This is an all-court paddle, which personally I do think is better for most players' games, but I say this because the Shogun does everything very well, but not one thing particularly great. This paddle certainly feels unique, and the Bread and Butter is a very fun company in the pickleball community, which I think is great for the sport. The Shogun may only be a slight upgrade over the Filth, but if you haven't purchased a Bread and Butter paddle before and you are in the market for an all-court paddle, this is a great entry point. So do I recommend the Bread and Butter Shogun? I would say yes, but this paddle certainly did not wow me, which is an interesting way for me to describe this paddle. The reason being, other than my Thrive Azul, I haven't been choosing to play with any other paddle outside of my paddle testing. As I mentioned before, all-court paddles aren't flashy, but man, does it make the game easier and more fun to play at times. I think this trend of all-court paddles taking over is going to continue, and the Shogun is a great option if you're in the market for that. If you have any feedback or have already been playing with an all-court paddle you love this year, let me know which one, and if you've already played with the Shogun, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.